Welcome to Conversations on the Coast, San Francisco's premier author interview program. And today we're going to do something special and different for us. We are going to talk about a cookbook. But it's really more than that. The title is Spices of Life. Subtitle, Simple and Delicious Recipes for Great Health. The author is Nina Simonds. And the photographs, very important, are by Tina Rupp.
Yes, thank you.
And the whole package is brought to us by our friends at Alfred A. Knopf. Thank you for stopping by with your basket of spicy goodies. What's in that basket? We can't get a good picture of it.
Well, we can describe it. We have garlic bulbs, and I have cinnamon sticks and both Chinese cassia bark, which if you scratch it, it smells. Smell that. Then, isn't that wonderful?
My.
And I have some fresh ginger, which you may be familiar with.
Yes. And it's in many of the recipes.
Chili peppers, salt, which has self-giving.
That looks like sea salt.
It is.
Okay.
And also star anise.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Star
anise.
Okay, that's in there?
Yes, actually, let me find you one here. I'm rummaging in my here.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, you know what you should do? You take off a point. It's an 8-pointed star.
Okay.
And you can suck on it if you have bad breath. But no offense.
Thank you very much.
It's a breath enhancer.
And thank you for stopping by.
Yeah. But it's also actually digestive. So it's very often cooked with meats to help you digest and give flavor. And it's also, it can be brewed in tea, so it's very warming. So it's great for San Francisco.
Okay. Now, the reason that this woman can talk so authoritatively about spice is that she's lived and studied in China, traveled throughout the rest of Southeast Asia. In Taiwan, she studied for 3.5 years under the direction of Chinese master chefs. She is fluent in Mandarin Chinese, which means they can't, fool her at the San Francisco Chinese restaurants. And Simon's also apprenticed for a year at La Varenne École de Cuisine in Paris and received a Grand Diplôme in classic French cuisine. And you also have been or are the Asian correspondent for Gourmet magazine. Right. And you're working on a special project with the Joslin Center for Diabetes in Boston.
That's right.
You're really something.
Thank you.
Talk a little bit about that project in Boston, which I think
it's
you're very devoted to.
Very exciting project, actually. Joslin is the foremost center for diabetes research in the world, and what they're doing is they're launching, actually, very soon, a landmark study. We're going to take at-risk diabetics, and we're going to feed them at the Chinese agrarian diet or dishes from Spices of Life. Mm-hmm. And my last book, Spoonful of Ginger.
Wow.
And at the end of a year, they feel that we will definitively show that diet can prevent adult onset diabetes.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's really quite exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
Well, as they say, back to the book.
Back to the book.
In my judgment, there are two reasons that you wrote this book. One, I see it, at least, as an excellent response to the January 12th Department of Health and Human Services new dietary guidelines.
Yes.
And when you talk about them, you talk about the great gulfs there are. I mean, you come down with the dietary guidelines and what the heck you're supposed to do with them. And from the Department of Health and Human Services, there is no answer.
That's right.
And in a way, this book is an answer.
Well, it's very interesting you should say that, because I saw this when they released the guidelines, and there was a big to-do when they released the guidelines. Yeah. So we're always taught what. We're always told what, but we're never told how.
Yeah.
And I feel
do it.
that this book is, in a way, it's a toolkit for how you can not only implement some of the dietary guidelines, which really suggest eating more fruits and vegetables, but also make it more pleasurable, which is what I feel that it's all about, because you can talk about health till you're blue in the face, but unless it tastes good, then people won't do it.
Nobody's going to do it.
And you also have to show people how it's accessible, how to do it, and make it easy to do it. And that's what I try to do.
Mm-hmm. So the other reason that the other source of this book is your trip to India and other places like that.
That's right.
And we could go into that, but when we come back, I think we've had enough background in philosophy and makeup of the book Spices of Life. So when we get back here, we're going to get on to the real stuff. Stuff like East-West barbecue and 5-spice chicken legs.
You're listening to Conversations on the Coast with Jim Foster. Now you can find this program on iTunes, SoundCloud, and all your favorite digital outlets. Follow the show on Twitter at JimFosterCoc and email jimfostercoc@gmail.com.
This is Conversations on the Coast. This is Jim Foster. The guest today, Nina Simonds, the book Spices of Life. Simple and delicious recipes for great health. And as we ended our first segment, we were talking about the notion that things have to be delicious, they have to be pleasurable for people to do them and to keep doing them. And Deborah Madison, who's written a vegetarian cookbook called Vegetarian Cooking for Everyone, says, what could be better than the promise of pleasure and health in the same bite? Okay, nice phrase. Spices of Life should clear up many lingering doubts one might have about which foods are good and which are good for you. Nina Simonds shows us through these appealing recipes and beautiful pictures, folks, that the foods that really nourish us most are the ones that taste the best. Thank you for the photographs, Tina Rupp.
Oh, yes. She's
Where
brilliant.
else do you get an interview where Tina gets on it? Come on.
And she's gorgeous, too. So
well.
She came to my house. We did 50 photos in 4 days, reorganized my pantry, shot it. It was great. Made my son smile when we were cooking, because there are pictures of me and my family in the book. And so it's rather
there is a section of the book devoted to men's way of cooking.
Which one is this?
Also called barbecuing.
Oh, barbecuing, yes, that's right.
Also known as burning the meat.
Right.
The interesting thing
that's what they say.
about the way you approach this, you have a bunch of recipes, and I want to start at the end of that section, where a woman by the name of Melanie Polk of the American Institute for Cancer Research gives us some grilling tips.
That's right.
Which are interesting.
Yes.
One of them is that she talks about it. This I really don't get. She talks about the harmful effects of letting juices drop into the flames.
Yes.
Now, the reason men like to do that is when you drop the juices in, there goes
fire. That's right.
Now, why shouldn't we be doing this? It's not good for our mothers and fathers and children?
Well, actually, unfortunately, they have found some studies have shown that the blackened parts over a period of time become are carcinogenic. And so what Melanie suggests, however, if you marinate your meat.
Good point.
That's very, or even...
And I don't think there's a piece of meat or fish in this book that you don't marinate first.
And you had mentioned Deborah Madison, who I love, but I'm not a vegetarian. I do like meat, and...
I'm not going to say anything against them.
No, but...
we're in San Francisco.
But I think that if you marinate your foods, and she suggests too that you cut off the blackened bits. But you know what? I think blackened bits really every now and then are the best.
They're
so you
yummy.
eat a lot of fruits and vegetables to counteract the blackened bits, and you're having fun.
Okay, and then the other thing that she recommends that is okay with me, because the recommendation is cook your burgers at a lower temp and turn frequently. Right. And that's great when you have the beer in this hand, you got the spatula in that hand.
You're in turning mode.
It's much, so you turn them a few times, take a chug along, turn them. It's going to be wonderful. I can just see that. All right, now let's go to a recipe on page 251.
Yes,
I think. No, 252. Where am I? I don't know. The recipe is five spice chicken leg recipe.
Right.
And
actually, you're right, because
it is 251.
But you stopped. You were at the Asian marinade recipe, and what I did, one of the things in this book was that I thought to give people master recipes or all-purpose recipes. So I give recipes for marinades, Asian marinades, for rubs, and you can use those with meat, fish, tofu, whatever. And my son loves these 5-spice chicken.
All right, so this recipe for 5-spice chicken legs begins with, naturally enough, a 5-spice marinade.
Yeah.
Which, as you say, you store and you have it. You can use it at different times. And you don't, you can do either chicken legs or you can do breasts. Right?
Yes.
And
I don't discriminate between breasts and legs.
What a nice person.
Yeah, thank you.
That's really very, very nice.
Yeah.
The other thing is that the preparation is easy. It's a medium hot fire, and then you grill for about 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
You got it. But it seems to be that the secret in all of this and the difference in all of this is the notion of marinade.
Marinating, absolutely. And also, I think it's important to, just to make more so you have it on hand for leftovers.
All right, look, there are a lot of great things in Spices of Life, and when we come back, it's down to basics. Great Aunt Sophie's chicken soup, and a dessert that's easier to eat than it is to say.
You're listening to Conversations on the Coast with Jim Foster. Now you can find this program on iTunes, SoundCloud, and all your favorite digital outlets. Follow the show on Twitter at JimFosterCoc and email JimFosterCoc@gmail.com.
Jim Foster here. The program is Conversations on the Coast. It's kind of being dominated right now by Nina Simonds and a wonderful book that she's written called Spices of Life. Simple and delicious, underline delicious, recipes for great health. Photographs by
Tina Rapp.
Good, the wonderful Tina Rapp. Published by the wonderful
Alfred A. Knopf.
Don't forget the A.
Yes.
All right.
My editor actually has been there since Alfred A. Knopf.
Oh, wow. Now, a good friend of yours, Walter Willett, says dietary choices can profoundly affect our health and well-being. In Spices of Life, Nina Simonds draws on her experiences to show that the road to good health can also be a wonderful culinary adventure. And that you do, and you're to be congratulated for that.
Thank you.
And on the way down the culinary road, you make a stop at a very homey place, at a place called Great Aunt Sophie's Chicken Soup. And I have in my notes, discuss.
Okay. Well, I did have a great Aunt Sophie. You know, it's quite interesting. My mother didn't like to cook. My dad loved food. Mm-hmm. But my mother's great aunt, my mother's mother taught healthy cooking in the 50s. And her sister loved to cook, and she made a chicken soup that was so dynamite. But I love the soup, and of course it's whenever I feel a cold coming on, but I add more garlic to it, and sometimes I add a little ginger, And it's just the best recipe. You can make it in big batches, freeze it, apply it topically, eat it. It's really, really great.
The interesting thing that you say here is that chicken soup is not just like the answer to a joke, or that you actually say that in many cultures, whatever version it might be, is considered a curative for many illnesses. Research has shown that it's effective in breaking up congestion from a cold, and Asian doctors believe that it is a yang tonic. And restores the body's energy.
That's right.
I mean, it's very exciting in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, something that's, good for you is like comfort food.
Well, exactly.
And it takes us back, because everybody, I think you're right, everybody has somebody in the family tree who was the maker of the curative soup. And so when you make it, you think of that person and you think of the times and the places and so on.
That's right.
Yeah.
Food can be nurturing, delicious, and health-giving. I since I'm not a doctor, I do work with doctors like Walter Willett, but I say health-giving rather than healing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with that.
Good.
Now, we in the break between segments 2 and 3, we learned something that is going to be, give us a momentous occasion here on the show. We are going to talk about gingery peachberry cobbler. Say it 3 times and you'll love it. Ginger peachberry cobbler. And
it's one of my favorite
And
recipes.
we found out that in the presentation of this dessert recipe, which I wanted to learn about and make at home with my own little hands, there's a mistake?
There is. It's not this worst nightmare. I actually did. I mean, I test and retest my recipes. And this is one of my favorite desserts in the book. It's a childhood favorite. And it's a cobbler when it's filled with blueberries and peaches and cinnamon, but I had a candied ginger rope, and I discovered yesterday, unfortunately.
Yesterday, while you're here with the bound book?
Well, no, actually, isn't that terrible? I looked at this.
Okay.
We looked at this. There were many people looking at this. That the peaches, the amount of peaches is incorrect. Well, it says, no, let me clarify.
Let me repeat that out there for you folks who are just waking up. The amount of peaches in this recipe is incorrect.
No, let's clarify.
Oh, let's clarify.
It says 6 peaches peeled, pitted, and cut into 1/2-inch slices. And then it says about 2 cups, but in no way is 6 peaches equivalent. It should be 4 cups. And I think what the Asians who were printing this book did was they looked at the 2 cups of fresh blueberries and they repeated it in the 2 cups in the peaches. So know that, and this will be in the next printing, but it'll be everywhere that I can possibly, because unfortunately these things happen. So it's 4 cups of peaches and 2 cups of blueberries.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Nina Simonds. It's 4 cups of peaches and 2 cups of blueberries. Can we talk about the book now?
Jim, I'm so meticulous about testing recipes. It was really so upsetting for me to learn about this, but I've decided we have to be positive about it and use it as an educational experience.
All right, let's be positive. We've talked about the mistake, which is really wonderful.
It's the only one in the book.
The book is called Spices of Life, Simple and Delicious Recipes for Great Health by Nina Simonds. Get the book with one mistake. You'll love it, and your family will love all the food that you'll make. This has been Conversations on the Coast, and I'm Jim Foster.
Now you can find this program on iTunes, SoundCloud, and all your favorite digital outlets. Follow the show on Twitter at Jim Foster COC and email jimfostercoc@gmail.com.